Imagine a world where your ability to provide for yourself and your family is tied to a single choice. A world where every transaction you make, from buying groceries to paying your bills, is controlled by your allegiance to a global system. This isn't a scene from a movie. The Bible describes this very scenario in the book of Revelation. It speaks of a time when loyalty to a powerful entity is required, and refusing to comply means being completely shut out of the economy. For centuries, this prophecy has sparked debate and speculation. But as our world grows more digital and interconnected, the questions seem more urgent. How could such a system actually be put in place? What does the number 666 truly symbolize? And are we getting closer to a world where you literally can't buy or sell without it? To understand this future, we have to go back to the source, Revelation chapter 13. The Apostle John, exiled on the island of Patmos, has a vision of a coming global power. He describes two beasts. The first rises from the sea, representing a powerful political system that demands worldwide worship. But it's the second beast, also known as the false prophet, who enforces this economic control. The scripture is disturbingly specific. Revelation 13, verses 16 through 18 states, "It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name." This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. Let's pause on that. The text doesn't say it will be difficult to buy or sell. It says it will be impossible. The system is designed for total economic exclusion. Notice the scope. All people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave. No one gets a pass. This isn't a regional policy or a sanction against one country. It is a universal rule that links the simple act of participating in the economy to a required mark of loyalty. This prophecy, written nearly 2,000 years ago in an age of bartering and simple coins, describes a level of centralized economic control that was unimaginable for most of history. Today, for the first time, the framework for such a system isn't just imaginable, it's actively being built around us. The prophecy isn't just about a strange number, it's about a system of absolute control over your ability to survive. So what's the real story behind this infamous number? To understand the mark, you first have to understand the number. The number 666 isn't random, and it's not just a scary symbol for horror movies. In the Bible, numbers have deep symbolic meaning, and this is the key to unlocking the prophecy. Throughout Scripture, the number 7 represents divine completeness and perfection. God created the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, establishing a pattern of divine order. You could say 7 is God's number. The number 6, on the other hand, represents man. Humanity was created on the 6th day. It's the number of human work, human effort, and human imperfection, always falling short of the divine perfection of 7. So what happens when you repeat it 3 times? In Hebrew thought, repeating something 3 times signifies its ultimate and complete expression. For instance, angels cry, "Holy, holy, holy," to describe God's ultimate holiness. Therefore, 666 represents the ultimate expression of man's rebellion against God. It's a trinity of human pride, a system declaring that man is his own God. It symbolizes a world completely defined by human power and intellect, with no room left for God. History even gives us a powerful example. At the height of his power, King Solomon received 666 talents of gold each year. This massive wealth, a symbol of human achievement, is associated with his turn away from God and toward vanity. The number, then, isn't some magic spell. It is the number of a man, symbolizing a human-centered system that demands the worship and allegiance that belong to God alone. So what would this system of allegiance look like in practice? For decades, people have imagined barcodes, tattoos, or microchips under the skin. As technology races forward, those ideas feel less and less like science fiction. Think about the world we live in right now. Many nations are developing central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Unlike the digital money in your bank account, a CBDC would be a direct liability of the central bank, which could give governments the potential for greater control over transactions. In such a system, money could theoretically be programmed with rules, setting limits on what you can buy, or even cutting off access to funds. This provides a technological how for Revelation's prophecy. Now, combine that with the rise of global digital ID systems. Initiatives like the World Bank's ID4D program are working to help countries establish digital identities with the goal of enabling access to services and economic opportunities. This kind of digital ID could one day become the key to accessing a CBDC wallet, creating a link between your identity and your right to transact. And how would you access the system? The prophecy mentions the right hand or the forehead. Consider the rapid development of biometric payments. Major financial firms like JP Morgan are piloting and planning broader rollouts of palm and facial payment systems. In the UAE, they are already testing facial and palm scan payments that remove the need for any card or device. However, the mark is likely more than just technology. In the Old Testament book of Deuteronomy, God commands his people to bind his laws as a sign on their hands and as a symbol on their foreheads. This was a command for their actions, the hand, and their thoughts, the forehead, to be completely devoted to God. The mark of the beast is a satanic imitation of this divine principle. Taking the mark on the forehead could symbolize a conscious choice to adopt the beast's worldview. Taking it on the right hand could symbolize dedicating your actions and your economic life to his system. Whether it's a physical implant, a biometric scan, or a digital credential, the technology is only the enabler. The core of the mark is a willing pledge of allegiance, a system where convenience and survival are leveraged to command worship. This brings us to the most critical point. Why does this single choice carry such profound, eternal weight? Because it's not just about money, it's about worship. The Bible makes it clear that accepting the mark is an act of worship. In Revelation 14, an angel gives a serious warning. If anyone worships the beast and its image and receives its mark on their forehead or on their hand, they too will drink the wine of God's fury. They will be tormented with burning sulfur in the presence of the holy angels and of the Lamb. The consequence for taking the mark isn't a temporary penalty. It's eternal separation from God. This is the ultimate deception. The system will likely be presented as a logical, necessary step for security, convenience, and global unity. The pressure to conform will be immense. Refusing it will mean being labeled an outcast, unable to function in society. But the Bible also shows the other side of this choice. Revelation 20 speaks of those who were executed because they refused to worship the beast or receive his mark. Their earthly fate was grim, but their eternal reward was glorious. They came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. This is the spiritual answer to the physical problem. The choice isn't really about buying and selling. It's about who you worship. It's a test of allegiance, forcing everyone to answer the question: will you prioritize your temporary physical survival in a man-made system, or your eternal spiritual life in God's kingdom? The prophecy looks at our deepest fear, being unable to provide for ourselves and our loved ones, and presents a choice between faith and compromise. The prophecies in Revelation were not written to create fear, but to inspire wisdom and preparation. The emergence of cashless technologies, biometric IDs, and centralized digital currencies doesn't mean the mark is coming tomorrow. But it does show that for the first time in history, the infrastructure for such a system is undeniably taking shape. The story of the mark of the beast is a warning that a day is coming when the world will demand our ultimate loyalty. But it's also a call to action for today. It urges us to think about where our trust truly lies. Is it in economic systems, governments, and our own abilities? Or is it in the God who promises to never leave nor forsake those who are His? The final choice may be in the future, but preparing for it begins in our hearts today. If you want to understand more about biblical prophecy, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss our future videos. If you know someone wrestling with these questions, feel free to share this with them. We'd also like to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you see the foundations for this system being laid today?